Okay, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Healing Place podcast. I am here with a special guest, my best friend, my BFF. We've been friends for years. Look, we had our break, but we're on, and we have grown, we have matured. Don't you think we've matured?
You have greatly matured.
I think our communication skills are better.
Yeah, it's getting better.
Yeah. So we are going to talk about a range of different topics. We were on here last week. We were missing one person, Tina. She's probably going to be mad. She's probably not going to speak to me anymore.
But I offered. Oh, no.
But we had recorded, when was it? In November? And the lights was off. And so the internet wasn't working. So what we recorded was just choppy, and I couldn't even pull the audio from it.
Really?
Yes. And I kept trying to download different programs, trying to get it to come back. It was the internet spectrum. But there's nothing else around here that we can get. So what do we do?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wanted us to talk about just a range of different things. So I want us to talk about, let's start off with relationships. So we were talking earlier, and I was telling you about, I've been getting a lot of people calling me about their marriage. I'm not married.
I am.
Right. And been married for quite some time. We just did your vow renewal.
Yeah.
How many years? 10 years.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
10 years.
Beautiful. Did you get the video for that?
No.
I can't wait to see it.
I haven't got pictures or video.
I
emailed her, but I haven't gotten anything yet.
Oh, wow.
I know, it's been a month.
That's crazy. Well, I think a lot of business owners are not really on the up and up like they should be.
It's hard.
It is.
So we're still kind of recovering from COVID, still having to do so much because of COVID.
Yeah.
That your typical end of year and year begin is a little lengthier. You need to pull in more people so it can be done a little faster.
Yeah.
We got to get W-2s out, 1099s, and they already calling
and can't do nothing with them yet.
It don't matter, they already calling.
That's crazy.
So we got to move quickly.
Yeah, I got to get my Schedule C's and stuff together for mine. But it is what it is. It comes with the territory. If you want to be your own person, then,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a team together. I keep hearing team. If you get your team, you can move swifter, but
that's what everybody needs anyway.
Getting that is hard. Look, we over here thinking about getting married, but at the same time, do I really want to get married? So I was telling you that I've had a lot of people calling me about their marriages and things, and I had spoke to somebody not too long ago, and I left that conversation I felt defeated because people are going through so much in their personal life. People are going through so much in their relationship, and when you're going through personally and you are trying to get to a place of healing, and then you're with a spouse who doesn't understand that you are trying to heal. And then when you're on that journey and your parts of you are healing and you open your eyes to see who your partner really is through your healed eyes. And, and trying to articulate, hey, these are my desires. These are my wants. These are my needs. And the other person's looking at you like you're changing.
And sometimes we connect with people just because of our trauma, or it might be something that's going on with me, and I have now used you as my crutch, and now that I'm healing, I no longer need the crutches. So sometimes that's where we go wrong in relationships, using that person to feel that area, other than using actually praying and asking God what is supposed to fill this area, because sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not a person. Sometimes it's a hobby. Sometimes it's a thing. I've learned in relationships with me and my husband, we have a lot of couples that are not married, but they're couples, and they're possibly gonna one day get married. And the biggest hiccup that we see is they don't know how to combine. you may have the female who wants things this way and the male that wants things, and they don't know how to compromise, or they don't even know how to communicate to know that it's a compromise that needs to happen. So I'm seeing a lot of that with relationships, but I tell people just to keep going. If you like that person, nobody's perfect. Just keep going and try to work it out, because we want somebody perfect, and that's we're not perfect.
Right. And for me, when you discover what your core values are, a lot of times people think it's preferences, or they think that it's a person being hard, and they don't know how to name it. No, it's just we're not compatible, or people are thinking, I know for me, people think I'm being picky, but at the end of the day, it's really my core values. Like, my core values are, especially in a relationship, I want to be able to trust you. I want to know that I can respect you and you respect me. Accountability, integrity, things like that are very, very important to me. And so when I start seeing things that are sketchy and go against what I believe. So if I believe in accountability, so anybody that knows me knows that, hey, if I call you and you're not available, at least let me know you're not available, or at least let me know you at least received a call, and you can't want to be with me and date me, and you can at least do that, because what would you do as a spouse?
Yeah, that's just being considerate of the other person.
Right.
But a lot of times in relationships, people don't even know that that's consideration is needed. We've had relationships and marriages that are completely just it's just, who knows why they got married? Right. Who knows why? And sometimes it's such a breakdown in relationships. People don't know the real meaning of love. If you ask me, I can love you and you're not perfect. I can love you and the things that you do is not what I like. I can love you, and we may not even get to see, we don't see eye to eye on anything, but people think that it has to be that way. It doesn't. I don't believe it does. I think that the differences make us. With my husband and I, we are night and day, but picture just having day. That's how I explain it to him. He say, oh, you don't never see stuff the way I see it. No, but picture if I did, it just wouldn't work out. You don't want a person to just say yes to everything that you say and do. You want a little difference and a little change and a little diversity in there. It just makes it better. It makes it better.
Yeah, and it makes it more so where you can actually have dialogue that is interesting. I don't want to sit and talk to somebody who doesn't really have anything to say outside of where I am. I want somebody who can take me further than where I am. You know what I mean?
And sometimes it don't. Sometimes people can't add that, but sometimes you adding to them.
And they can't. And I think that's another big thing for me too, because I love to submit. Like, I was told that I was an alpha female, and I'm like, but it's only because I have to be.
I don't think of you as alpha female.
You don't?
I mean, I think you're like, sometimes you can be bossy, but I think you are someone who works well with balance. You and Tina both. I think y'all are able to. Y'all are like servant leaders, so you may be the first one there, and it may not even be your event, but that doesn't mean. I see alpha females as being individuals that stand alone and that actually want to, like, they want to be, I want it to be just me and that's how I see them. I don't see you like that. I think you're more or less someone who, you're a good team player. I wouldn't see you as, you're not a loner. A lot of times you are alone because of the circumstance, but not because of your choice. I think you are a social person. I could see you as being a female that can lead in a pack I can see you leading, but I don't see you taking on that role as alpha female. I'm the leader. I will attack whoever comes next to me. No, I don't see that.
Yeah.
That's how I see an alpha female.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
Yeah. And I think it was more so, when they used that term with me, it was more so like, and I used the example of when me and a friend, we went out to the movies and we came out, it was a young lady sitting in her car. And I was like, oh, she can't get her car crunk up. She needs a jump. And I was like, she needs a jump. And they were like, well, what you want me to do? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'll go get my jumper cables and I go and do this and I do this.
And that's more of a servant leader,
Yeah.
because you definitely lead. You saw that she was a young lady and you took the role. And sometimes when we are with males, they see us as alpha females because we're taking over their role. But it always has to be a feminine and a masculine. And at that time, he desired to be the feminine. So no, but that doesn't make you an alpha female.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what they
make you a good person.
Yeah, this person just thought, but I do desire just to be submissive. And so using that same example, I desire to be with a male that will see a need and do it without me having to take charge. I understand that there are going to be times where, as a wife, you will have to, because perhaps they don't know. But when it's simple things like that, I feel like they should know. I want to be, even though now I'm a pastor, my heart's desire is, if I got married, I still want to be the wife, even if he's not a pastor, if he needs water, I want to be the one to go get him water. You know what I mean? I want to be that woman that is that submissive, but it's so hard nowadays because most men that I have encountered are those who have nothing. It's hard to submit to somebody who literally has nothing to offer. Like, I have the table and the chairs. You just taking a seat and you want me to submit to you.
Now, and that's something that I don't want to say the wrong thing, but in this society of our males, a lot of our males think because they are male, you're supposed to submit. You have to make sense. A lot of times women don't submit because of the things that the male is saying. It's just, if you go and you take what they're saying and you kind of like write it out with consequences, and every action has a reaction, their reaction gonna go all wrong. So you stop and say, I don't think we should do that. But I believe both should submit. With my husband and I, we both, like, sometimes he has a good idea, sometimes I have a good idea. And my husband will tell you, he will say to you, my wife has really good ideas, so I follow her lead. Sometimes when it comes down to making a dollar and making a dollar holler, I'm really good at that. So I'm going to take the lead in that area. But as far as house management, what we should do, he takes the lead in that area. And it's a balance. But no, some of the individuals that I have met and some of the men that I hear, no, I would not submit to them. It's really hard to submit to someone when they're literally going to have to submit to you to have a place to stay. But a lot of the males, they are really going wrong with that, just leading their life. It's hard for me to submit to a male who says, I have 5 children. So how are they? And you don't even know their ages. Oh my gosh. Like, that says you're not even a good father, let alone, I don't know how you're going to provide. And a lot of them miss that. It's like, I'm missing that piece. And you want to tell them how to get that piece. Sometimes you can provide with wisdom. Sometimes you can provide with just adding your 2 cents and their 2 cents and getting the 4 cents. Right. But to ask for complete submission, sometimes with the men, who I want my wife to cook and clean. Well, if we're both working 8 hours, we're gonna split these tasks.
Right.
That setup is for individuals who don't have to work the 8 hours, maybe a wife that can work 4 hours. But if we both have to work a full-time shift, we're coming home at the same time, we're gonna split these tasks.
Right. And I was talking to my brother about that very thing. And so for me, like you said, I desire for us to be able to do that. My brother said he feels like it should be a problem for any woman who hears out of a man's mouth who says, this is your role, this is what you should do. He said, who would want to submit to somebody telling them that? And I said, right. I said, because I had somebody to tell me that, you know, if we were to get married, this is what I want you to do. You will have to pay X amount of money in the household. I said, who? I said, for what? I said, I can pay, first of all, I can pay where I'm at.
Right, you already have your own home.
I got my own home, I got my own, no, you're not gonna tell me. And I said, honestly, what he had said to me, what it sounded like to me, how it came across to me was that you're looking for somebody to help you pay your bills.
That's bad.
That's how it sounded, because who does that? Who says things like that?
And I think a lot of times men, they miss it. I hear a lot of things on TikTok about it, and I don't really get into the back and forth, but I do know that a lot of men who talk about the submissive and I'm this type of male, you don't have to tell me what type of person you are. I should be able to see it. And the things that we ask men to do, it's not much, you know, to provide and to protect. There is a lot of men who are going to miss out on the providing end. So you really have to protect. And if you can't provide nor protect, then that was the role that the world gave you and you didn't carry it out. I think we all should, in a relationship, see who's best at which, because some men are better at cooking. Some men are better at cleaning. Some men are better at actually making those bills connect. So it's like, whatever you're good at, that's what you should do. If I'm good at making money, then that's what I should do. If you're good at making sure the kids actually carry out their tasks, then that's what you should do. Whatever makes it work and whatever makes you happy. Yeah. But a lot of times people don't look at that. They're looking for what's acceptable. What does the world say is a good idea and a good marriage and a good man? But those never usually it.
That's why I always say it. And I want to transition over into so I had a conversation about let's see, so if you're having problems within your marriage, I had this within, I wasn't married, but I was in a relationship, and this is when stuff started really like toppling over for me, because it just did something to my insides. But when you're in a marriage or in a relationship, I don't feel like you should be going to the opposite sex to talk about your problems. That is a issue.
That's a door opener for cheating.
And people don't believe in that you start off with emotional affairs before you go to the physical.
They say that, oh no, they know it. What made you talk to that person was the attraction. If you didn't just go, if you wanted to just talk to somebody, you could have talked to anybody. What made you choose that person? It was an attraction to their mind and their thoughts. You knew they was going to say what lined up with what you felt. Right. So no, I would never accept that in a relationship.
And I don't think nobody should, because it's just like you said, a door opener. And then here it is, you're going to work talking to John about what's going on and what's going on and what's not going on within your home. So what is he doing? Hearing everything that's not happening, hearing everything that you desire and everything that he, and he's coming whispering in your ear, and it's like seeds are being planted, even, with the husband or whatever. And I remember when that happened to me, and the person came and was like, yeah, I was talking to such and such, and she said, I said, what? Yeah. And I said, I know doggone well, you didn't go to her and talk to her about me. I know that.
And they don't understand. A lot of times men don't understand that females are calculated. They don't. I was watching Sisters, Tyler Perry's Sisters, and the episode, the the attorney was being kind of played by a lady, but the lady knew how to play him because all she did was agreed with them, complimented them. So it's that need to feel good. And that's why they go to that person, because they know that person's going to see it that way. That person is said through some signs out there to say, I see things the way you do. So that's who they want to talk to.
Yeah.
And they develop that that bond with that person. And you sometimes wonder in those type of situations, why doesn't it not go to the next level? Because even if it does, like, let's say they do begin to cheat and become, it never goes anywhere because they realize that that person was just performing. And it's like, it's too late. You've ruined everything you had. But we got a lot of actors in the world.
And people don't realize that's like even with dating, you never go if I'm getting ready to date somebody, my number one rule is I never tell them what I want in a relationship. I never tell them why, because they will become that until they get me, and then you cannot pretend, but for so long, you just can't. I tell you I like flowers, you bring me flowers. But then I'm looking for flowers on at least once a month, but you can't do it. Why? Because that's not who you are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's just, I just did this because that's what you like. And then that just tells you about the person as well, because I'm one of those persons, you could like it forever. If I don't want to do it, I ain't gonna do it. And people see that as mean because we've had so many auditions, like so many people they just want you to do or want you for whatever they want you for. So in the relationships, you say, well, I don't like to hear people in current relationships tell those current relationships what happened in past relationships.
No.
That's a backfire too.
It is, and it should be a sign to the hearer that that person ain't healed from it. Because if you're still talking about it, and then let me tell you, so I had went out with someone who had several relationships prior, and every one of them, it was their problem, the other person's problem. They were the fault. And I said, it's no way that everybody had a problem. You're the only common denominator. And in the fall of any relationship, it takes two people. You know what I mean? So what did you do? What did you take from it? You haven't learned anything, so things like that should be a red flag to let you know that that person's not healed. They're not even ready for a relationship. Run before you get caught up in that. And then you find yourself being hurt. So I really sit with myself and say, do I really even want to be married? Because it's so much going on and you just never know what you're going to get. I don't have the time really to put into a relationship. I desire it, but at the end of the day, I really don't have the time.
I've been in, like I said, we had our 10-year renewal. And I would say to you, you have to find that person that you're willing to make the time for. It's some people that, I could date whomever and I may never like anybody I date, but there is somebody, the person that I marry is that person that I made the time for. In my busiest days, I found a way to get to them or call them or see them. And that lets you know if that's the person. And they should do the same for you. What my husband and I, and our schedules are completely opposite. He has to work a lot at night. I have to work during the day, but we manage to see each other, to spend time together. We spend whole days just sitting together in the bed, watching TV. And we're not doing anything fancy. We're just doing that. And we do fine and we have no problem. But it's where when you date and you meet that person that you say, you know what, tomorrow I got this going on and that going on, but I'm going to manage to see them between that. That's the person.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I find somebody like that. I'm such a, and I had to really I did have a coming to Jesus moment a couple of weeks, maybe a month or two ago. And I was in the process of dating, and I really I said, Lord, I think I might have commitment issues. I did. I had to really be honest with myself and say, I think I really do have commitment issues, because I'm afraid that if I let down my guard and really start liking somebody and putting in the effort, that it's going to be
the right person.
Will it be the right person? Because again, we're in a society where people will be one way today and then something different. Do you have the capability, or do you have the capacity to see me at my worst? Because for me, that's like one of my strengths, which I'm like, Lord, I don't need to always be the one showing up. I think it's all right for people to show up for me. You know what I mean? So would that individual be able to show up for me the way I would show up for them?
I think you're gonna have to look at it. That's been that's a downfall of mine. That's part of I have real issues with that. So sometimes people are never gonna be able to put in what you put in. Some people are will never be able to have that capacity. This container of water can hold 16.9 ounces. It's halfway. Now it can hold all this, but it's halfway. You gotta be safe. So if I were you, I would provide half. I wouldn't go all in until I know I need to go all in. And sometimes we'll do that. I do it. I go all in, don't need to. That person, yeah, they needed all of you, but you didn't need to give them all of you. Balance that. A lot of times it's not even worth it. We lose ourselves in that sometimes.
We do.
Women.
As women, because that's what we do, right? So
men always think, I mean, that's how you have to think about them. I have watched men sit and they can think some stuff that you never even imagined. They're quieter, that they use less words than we do, which means they listen more than we do. So it's like, no, I just wouldn't. If I'm gonna let myself go, it's gonna be someone that I just definitely feel like I'm in tune with. Like I really like them. Not that they really, because a lot of times women deal with the men that like them. No, I think it's worth it to deal with who you like. And a lot of times we say in the Bible, it says a man that finds a wife finds a good thing. So women always assume, well, he picked me, so I should like him. No. If you don't like them, you don't like them. You need to be with the person that you do like.
Right. And I think, I think that's another issue that we have as well, because a lot of women pick people, or they decide to be with people that everybody around them is going to like as well. Yes. We don't go with where our hearts are. So this is, and I don't want to say heart, because our heart will lead us astray, but who we really like, or who we feel like we just really are compatible. I really, we just get each other. So I have somebody now that has married someone that everybody else liked, but they really didn't. And so now that they're facing like, I'm trying to make it work. It's just not working.
Because where everybody at?
Right, telling them how great of a person this person is. But I'm like, they don't have to live with them. You do. And it's not fair, when you live like that. But so many people do, because so many people want the validation of other people. And it's so freeing when you get to the place where it's like, it doesn't matter. It's all right to go against the grain. It is all right to go against the grain, because God is not a God that will have you always going with the flow of everybody else. A lot of times he has you going with the flow of the opposite, because of what he has preordained. And so I'm a strong believer that whoever you marry should be your purpose partners. Y'all should be partners, and that y'all purposes, y'all purpose should be lining up, whether they are chef, you're whatever you do, but it's lining up with the helping of people. Does that make sense? Like they do this, but we still come, guess what? This person need help, and y'all coming together and just ministry, purpose wise. But we don't understand that, even when it looks like it's crazy and everybody's against us, that Oh, it used to be a song, it's us against the world. Sometimes it has to be you against the world. It has to be y'all against the world. And it does become a very beautiful love story. I was listening to a couple yesterday on YouTube, Dear Wifey. I love that podcast, but they have been married for 51 years. And they were saying how many people came up against them. She was 17, he was 25. And it was just like they had already picked somebody for him, and she was like, that was her man. She didn't care. That was, but 51 years later.
And that's a good way to measure your relationship. By not length, but how many people have a problem. You always have to watch when everybody is clapping. When you are dating a person, like me and my husband, it's a big age gap. However, people look at me and they say, why that man backed me when no one else did. You know, when every human being was like, I'm not dealing with her, he stood right there beside me and dealt with me. And sometimes we're not, like, I know a lot of times I can be rude, beyond rude. Once I get an idea in my mind that you are not for me, you are not, and it stay over there. And so I know how I am, but he understands me, and he'll tell me, like, Tamika, nobody knew that pigeons, like, because I don't like pigeons. And nobody knows that I don't like pigeons. But when they're around me, he knows. Like when we're at airports and things and pigeons are coming, I'm like, and it's because I don't like pigeons, because they used to take my food and stuff. So I remember always getting in trouble when the pigeon would come and fly down and take my food. So I had an issue. He knows that. And that's why it's just like, no, I don't want to be with anyone else, because no one else knows me like that. But today's time, people do not care about that foundation. You have folks that will risk it all because this girl looks good or this guy looks good. And it's like, really? Yeah, that's crazy. But that's where we are today.
But and I hate that. I hate surface. Let me rephrase it. I don't hate anybody. I hate when people act on surface levels. I hate when someone comes and you're beautiful, but you don't know who I am.
Right.
But you don't know who I am. And then when you get to know who I am, like one guy,
you're trying to change me.
You're trying to change me. And it's like, oh, well, can you take any, and this is me, and I know it's rude. I know it's rude. But I had one guy, we were talking, but he needed more counseling than he did anything else. So, it's like, ooh, and so we would talk things through. He didn't even know what I was doing, but we were helping him process some of his stuff. And then I was in a store and I was like, this lady, I can't believe this lady is taking up all this doggone time trying to type sign this person up for their little membership VIP cards. You know how you get those little cards. And so like she was just typing it in. And I'm like, you don't even have to do all that. Let's go. It's like 30 people in line. And I'm on the phone with him. And he was like, just calm down. She's just doing her job. I said, no, I know this lady. I said, she just does extra for no reason at all. And I was like, she does this all the time. And so he was like, just breathe in, breathe out. And I was like, okay, I have the right to be upset. I said, I have that right to be upset. I said, I don't deserve people telling me to be quiet. I said, I'm complaining because I'm standing in a line and there's 30 more people behind me. And she's doing something that is unnecessary. She's not doing her job. She does this. This is her behavior. People will come when they see her doing it, they come running from the back, complaining about, why are you doing this? I said, so, and then he said, can anybody ever tell you anything? I said, if you're saying something, but you're not. And he was like, oh. I said, you're not. I said, I love information. I love to be taught, but you have to be able to teach me. And he was like, I can't believe you said that. Well, no, I said it because you have to be able to discern when to say something, how to say it. You have to be able to discern why a person is saying what they're saying. I said, I have a right to be upset. and nobody's going to take that away from me. I said, I'm not rude to anybody. I said, I will vent, I will say something. I said, but you see me 5 minutes later, probably give her, here, honey, let me help you.
Well, yeah, and that's a lot of people don't want you to feel. It's like, as long as you feel, though, you got to feel the way they feel, or you got to do what they want. And that's like a red flag for me with relationships. Not marriages or anything, but relationships. When a person says, oh, she's aggressive, or let me take her off her throne.
Yes.
Those are flags.
Yes.
Because it lets me know that, I'm not an alpha female, but I am assertive. And I kind of really like things to be a certain way. I love order. And when it's out of order, I don't like it, but people don't honor that. They don't honor your decision or your right to be you.
It's called respect. People don't have respect anymore for one another, because it's all right. When you take the time, and I think, going back to relationship, I can love you, but if I can't trust you or respect you, or I can't trust you and you have no respect for me, this relationship is not going to work, because it goes a long way. Tina Turner, I know, loved Ike.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Tina. Okay.
But she loved him. What does love have to really do with this? You know how many people love their abusers, but they have to leave for their own safety.
And that's the problem. We grow fond of things that we shouldn't.
Right.
We accept things
that we
shouldn't. When I was thinking about myself, I had a relationship. I was married before this marriage. I had a marriage, and we were. It was a domestic violence situation. It was an individual who was a surface person. If you saw him on the surface, you think this person has it together. They had a good family life. And then I learned later that everything was like false. Everything was a nicely painted picture with the bow on it, but underneath that picture, the picture was painted on trash. And I didn't realize that because of surface people, because people sometimes, because they know how ugly they are on the inside, they show you all of the good until they have pretty much suckered you, or your situation is so bad that you think, I have to deal with this person in order to even get out of this mess. And a lot of women get caught in that trap, a lot of them. And I think we should, as older women, I think we should be a little more transparent. Like when I talk to younger women, I tell them the truth. Like, I've been in a domestic violence situation, didn't know, didn't realize this guy had issues at all. But he did. And so a lot of women look at me and say, not you, why not me? Any of us can be in this situation.
Right.
And I think that our parents have taught us that, oh no, wise women, this don't happen to wise women. No, it happens to rich women, it happens to poor women, it happens to wise women, it happens to not so smart women. It's what we want. And a lot of times women can want that love and that nurture and that relationship so bad that they deal.
Okay, we settle for less than what we deserve. And a lot of times what I have been finding too, and even with myself, because 2020, I say from 2020 to 2022, I really learned more of myself. I have grown and I have healed in areas that I didn't even know I was still wounded in. And so finding out who I am and knowing that there were some things I tolerated and I allowed in my life because of things that I had never dealt with.
And that's, even I'm still growing, still learning stuff about myself. But I realized, like, some of the reason why I'm able to deal with some of the harsher people, I have always been drawn to those people that are rough. Like the women that folks look at and say, why you like her? Because nobody likes her. And I found that I'm that way because of my mother. My mom was like an outcast in her family. She was an outcast in the community. So people that I meet that are kind of rough, that's who I'm drawn to. And I remember one time my husband was showing me some foolishness on social media, and I'm not on it, but he showed me on his, and I saw the girl, she's just like tearing through and beating up everybody. And I look and I said, I know her. I said, that's my staff. I said, she works with me. And I had to let her go because of that. But I told him, I said, we were really close. And he said, I should have known. And it's someone that probably no one is close to, but I had a special place in my heart for her. And I've always been like that. And it's because I have always been the person folks look at and be like, not her. And so I know that even in that not her, that person got something to offer. And I think even with relationships, if we can get past that, the people that we really are meant to mesh with don't look like what we think.
They don't. I have learned, what I've learned is my style of ministering, or my style of counseling, or my style of just helping people or walking alongside people. I have to adapt to each person, because I've always had for years just one style of doing things, and it's always been a mothering, and my mothering style can be a little rough, and it was like, everybody don't want that, everybody don't need that, and it was like, but I don't want people to be hurt, and the Lord had to really deal with me and be like, no, everybody don't want that, and you cannot give people something that they don't want or they're not going to receive.
Because the mothering to some depends on the person. But if you're dealing with a person that's kind of big-headed, like myself, mothering can be belittling. To where it's like, okay, I don't want to deal with them. I don't want to talk to them because they make me feel bad about who I am. So, and you don't know, but even for myself, my cousin told me, she says, you have a way of making me feel like I'm less than. Well, you're young, you're a child, but this generation of children, of youth, they're not youth to them. They're equal with you. So I couldn't even understand what she was saying, because what I had been taught was, if you are the child, you stay in the child's place. So the whole time I couldn't even relate to her, because my knowledge was, oh, child's place. No, nowadays you can't look at them like that. They are, some of our youth have gone through more than our adults. So they don't care that they're 16. I'm 16, but I've dealt with homelessness, I've dealt with joblessness, I've dealt with abuse, I've dealt with neglect, I've dealt with all of these things. So now I'm no longer a child.
And this generation of kids is just because the parents have gotten younger, and the parents are wanting to be friends and more friends than parents. And so when it comes time to be parents, children don't want to listen to them.
Yes.
They want you to be a friend. And I remember my daughter used to always, because I would say, we're best friends, we're best. But then when she got to the place where she thought she could talk to me, and no, you don't get to, I'm not your friend.
That's what mine told me. My daughter told me that I told her that we weren't friends, so she doesn't tell me anything. And that's why. She said, you told me that you weren't my friend. And I said, well, good God Almighty. I thought, because that's the way my mama raised me. So I'm like, ooh, and I messed up, because I'm one of those persons that I want my family to know that y'all are my people. And when my daughter did it, I felt like, okay, I failed. And I felt like that, because there was nothing anyone said or anyone did. I just felt like I failed, because what the mission and the way I tried to train her and teach her just went out the window. You have to watch interactions with when it's kids involved, you have to watch who are your friends? How do your friends speak? How do your friends think? Because it rubs off. And with my daughter, I learned, I allowed her to have close friendships. And I learned later that I was like, nah, I probably shouldn't have drew a wedge in that friendship, but you don't want to do that. You want your kids to learn. And so I said, well, I messed up, but I'm trying to get it back together. It's no amount of words. There's nothing I could say, because I'm never going to say, oh yeah, I'm your friend. No, I'm your mom. And certain things that I'm going to tell you that you're not going to agree with. There's certain things that I'm going to do that you're not going to agree with, because I still give whippings. And most people say, well, when your kids are a certain age, you shouldn't do that. I believe in doing that. My mom smacked me till I was 20. Probably would have smacked me at 30, you know, but she didn't want to do it in front of my kids. And I believe that's what made me though. And it worked for me. Yeah. A lot of times we need to do more of that, grooming relationships so where they're healthy.
Yeah, I had to learn to I started doing like family meetings. And I told them, you know, it's say whatever you need to say. This is the space where you can say whatever you need to say. You know, if I've said something to you that you felt you didn't like or you didn't understand, let's talk about it now. Because what happened was when I'm a journal person. Anybody knows me, I'm a journal person. Like I have thousands of journals. And I had given my daughter a journal when she was younger, and she didn't know. I would go in and I would sneak and read it. And it was like, I hate my mom. I hate Christian. I hate living here. And I was like, gosh, well, I can't go to her and say I've read her journal. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you hate living here? You know, and it was during a time where she had just finished her chemo, you know, she hadn't started going back to school yet. And she was at home with me. I'm like, I done sacrificed. How dare you say you hate me? You know, but I couldn't understand it. So I was like, okay, we got to get to a place where we can sit down and we can just really talk, because what is it that you don't like? I wanted to know, what is it that you don't like? What is it that you can't get with in this home? And so when, you know, just to hear her little mind speak, and she was telling like real stuff, like, you know, I don't get to do what my friends do, or I don't have what my friends have, or, you know, and then it gave me the opportunity to be able to explain to her why we move the way we move, why, you know, you have this, and, you know, and she understood. But without me being able to have that space of just being open, you know, sometimes it would backfire on me, because she might just come out and be like, Ma, you know, I really didn't like what you said to me because X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, what needed to be said though?
Yeah.
You know,
and that's what they don't understand. Sometimes I'm telling you because you really need to know this.
Right, because with that's like, you're not thinking you're gonna get hurt. And so, and then learning the style that our children, like my mother used to say, you don't believe fire burns until it burns you on your butt. So I was one who had to touch it. I needed to touch it in order to understand that it really did burn. Nobody could tell me enough. How many times my daughter was like that. I could whoop her, like people probably would have thought I was abusive to her, but it didn't matter. No matter the amount of time she would get punished, that none of that would cause her to straighten up. The only thing that I could do to correct her. Now with my son, I could speak to him and he just break down crying. Naraya was like, I would have to go in within our own in the house and not speak to her. Act like she wasn't there. That got to her the worst.
Yeah, that don't work for mine. If I did that with Princess, she would probably be like, woo, because to them, I nag too much. Well, to Princess and Mariana, I nag too much. Now my son I don't have to say anything. You know, boys are not like girls.
No, and it's like, I mean, Christian literally would just break down crying.
Girls.
So, and I know you got to go. Thank you for coming and spending this.
Okay.
No, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I thought you looking. Oh, good.
I just I do that.
Oh, okay.
I have to keep a track.
Because I wanted us to talk about too. So we talked about we talked about the marriage, right? So let's talk about just forming relationships. Women having relationships with women. I think though women relationships are one of the hardest to maintain.
Yeah, that's your area.
So like I was talking to a friend and they were saying that, you know, their language, had been the same for like just kept going. Like I get tired of people treating me this way and looking at me like I'm better than, and that's not me. And I said, I think it's a test that you have to get through. I said, it's not everybody, it's a spirit that just happens to use people that are in your space trying to get at you. So what is it that God is really trying to get you to see? At the end of the day, that's what it is. But women don't understand a lot of times that you might be going through something, right? And you walk into a space and you see other women, and women might have their noses up or they might look at you a certain type of way. But think about how you came into the space. You're going through something too. Do you not know that out of 10 other women, 6 of them are going through something?
10.
Right. And because we don't take the time to really be transparent with one another.
We don't.
Like, there's nothing wrong with me saying to you, if we're forming a relationship, that, hey, girl, let me tell you, I'm over here dealing with dude over here, and he's really not right for me, but I don't know how to break it off with him. You might be somebody who went through the same thing, and you can give me the wisdom.
But a lot of women are judgmental. A lot of them want what you actually have.
They do.
So you can't even really discuss. Like I don't discuss my relationship with women. I may discuss my relationship with you. I may discuss it, of course, with my husband. I may discuss it with my cousin, but other women I won't mention.
Yeah,
because there's some sneaky little things.
they are.
So it's like I pass on it. I don't really do a lot. I'm a woman. So of course I respect and admire other women, but I do keep a distance because every woman is not mature enough to be able to enjoy the space that they're in. So I don't even entertain them a lot. But I think as women, we do need to strengthen ourselves. I was watching a Netflix comedy show, and what was his name? Bill Boris. Very funny. He's funny, but he's kind of like a butthole, but he's funny. And he's like, yeah, studies show that women are smarter, like the males. And then he stopped and he said, but you gotta wonder, because he was talking about a bar and how the men were celebrating the game and kind of like high-fiving and bumping bellies and stuff. And the reason why males can even lead better is because of women.
Oh no.
Women do things to hurt and hurt each other. I don't understand the tactics. I don't understand what they're doing, but a lot of times women miss out on the team building.
Oh my God.
Or building up another woman. If a woman walks in a room, it should not be where other women have a problem with saying, you look nice today.
Yeah.
They literally will look and frown. Why are you frowning? It took more muscles to frown than to smile. Why? Because of intimidated. You're intimidated by this other woman. Why?
And a lot of times,
it's bad.
Yeah, but it's an internal issue. And all they're doing is projecting their stuff off. And it really only takes one person. So what I've learned, because things like that will bother me, but they will bother me because of something internal I was dealing with. So I was dealing with, it takes a lot for me. Somebody can give me a compliment. Now you can tell me about clothes. Oh, that looks nice. If you know me, then you know I just like clothes. Like I have a problem with clothes. But if you tell me anything about my accomplishments, it's hard for me to take that in. And so because I have dealt with that, I can go into a room and somebody can call me by one of my titles, and I'll be like, people are going to be looking at me. People are going to be looking at me and judging because I don't look like the title. You know what I mean? I like to be who I am. I like to be casual. I like to be transparent. I like to be goofy. I like to laugh. I like to sit over here and crack jokes at the person up there speaking. That's me. You know, I like to be that person. But I had to learn, because it would bother me so much that it would make me be almost like a recluse. And I wouldn't show up to certain events that I know would help me potentially push to the next level or to the next door that God had for me, because it made me feel bad. But I had to learn that me showing up did more for the room than the room did for me.
But sometimes it's like that.
Yeah, because sometimes people don't understand that it's all right to have that title, but it's even better to be yourself. It's all right for you to look at me up and down and think to yourself that I am thinking, or I think, until you see me trip over my own shoes.
And it's like, I just really want women, especially African-American women, I remember they were doing the train on TikTok. And I thought it was so cute where they were following each other. And I'm like, oh, that was good. But then someone attacked it. I remember it was attacked, but I believe that we as a unit should be more unified. We all go through hell.
Yeah.
We're the least protected. So it's like, hey, we know it. Let's stop just saying it. Let's grow close to one another. Let's build up one another. I have a friend, well, she works with me, and she was just, she's about to be a grandma. And this lady is a single mama, 6 children, 5 boys, 1 girl. When I say she makes other moms look like they in training, she does everything faster. She does everything. It's like 2 people in that one person. And I looked at her and I smiled, because I said, God equips all of us with the level we need. When I tell you, she can move so much faster than me. We're about the same age. She can do, like, when she starts her day, I asked her just yesterday, I said, how are you able to go on and on and on? Because she'll go and keep going. And she may go to bed at like midnight and wake up at like 4 or 5. And she's like, oh, I had to do that for these kids. And that's all she knows. She just, and it's like, and I wonder, like, sometimes I wonder, like, what if we as a unit, women, what if another woman took arms and got beside her and worked with her? When she gave me her story, so many women, older women, tore it down. To where you stop and you say, are you serious? Not helped her, not taught her, not any, tore her down. We got to work on that.
We do. We got to work on it. And then I think what we got to work on too is being grateful for those who haven't torn us down.
Yeah.
We focus more on, and I have a friend now that's sick, and I remember her, she wanted me to hold her hand, and she looked at me, she was like, well, thank you for being there. And I was like, where else would I be? She was like, you didn't have to be here. I said, but when I was at my lowest, you never left me.
And that goes a long way. People don't understand how far that go. I'm one of those persons that I can remember. I stand close to the people who just stand there. You stand with me. Even though I wasn't lovable at that time, you stood with me, you liked me, you cared about me.
Yeah.
And I take that, and it's just like, oh, it's worth more than anything. But there's not a lot of people that do that.
It's not a lot of people who do that. And it's like, come on, because for me, it doesn't take much for me to send a text to say, just checking on you.
Yeah.
I don't have to be in your space. I know I know people got their own stuff, but it doesn't take much for me just to say, I'm thinking about you. I was thinking going into this year, it was really important for me And it was important for me to really reevaluate those people that I was calling friends. So I had to do some shifting, because I said, well, Lord, I'm always reaching out. It was certain people that I would reach, but I never would hear from them. And it was like, Lord, this just really doesn't make no sense. I said, because this one knows that I had went through a hard time. That one knows. And I said, but I'm always the one reaching out. And I said, it's not that I love them less, but they're not, you know how you have the outer courts, the inner court, you have the most holies of holies. So, like my people, my best friends are y'all are right here, in the holies of holies. Y'all not going nowhere. But then I have these, and I'm like, no, I got to shift you to the back. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't take much. And when you don't think outside of yourself for the next sister, I'm not even talking about men, I'm talking about the next sister, especially when you're a Black female, and you understand how hard life is, period. Mental health, 2020 to 2022, more women have dealt with mental health issues that were in leadership, whether it's leadership within your family, your company, your whatever area of life, have dealt with mental health issues. And if it wasn't for God, if it wasn't for people, friends that was coming alongside of many of us, we wouldn't have been here. People were taking their lives, or attempting to. I know for me, there literally was a time where I was like, God, you can take me. I'm done.
And that's what my therapist was, my new therapist. She had spoke to me and she told me, she said, well, don't say that, because a lot of leaders have taken their life. And it was just my opinion. She told me not to give my opinion. I was like, well, and I am opinionated, and my opinion is just that.
Yeah.
And I explained that to her. I was like, it's just my opinion. It's not worth nothing. But it's mine. And I think a lot of times we put too much on us. We get overwhelmed. I know in the course of the day, I said I should not, if I have to, I said this to my work team. I said, if I have to find the problem, think of the solution, put the solution into motion, I don't need a team. A lot of times that's what we have to do. We have to look at our friendships that way. We have to look at our relationships that way. We have to look at our kids that way and say, you're requiring too much of me, so I'm going to remove myself, because we can make things go. I know I make things go south in whatever I do, because I'll do too much. And I'll have people accustomed to my too much. And then when I'm not able to do it, it's like the bottom fell out. Why? Because you thought I was going to always be able to, and I wasn't. Because I'm human.
Right.
And a lot of times I ask God to not put me in those situations, but remind me of who's who and what's what. He did that with therapy. He does that with everything. And when I get to where I'm giving someone too many kudos, he'll show me, this is that half empty bottle that you said was the best thing since sliced bread. And it's just keeping me, because I will put a person there. Like, okay, that's my person. No, they're not. They're human. And they're not for you.
Yeah, and then
not for you.
And everybody makes mistakes. I had to get to a place where I realized that just like I made mistakes, other people make mistakes, and sometimes I think subconsciously I was saying that certain people couldn't make certain mistakes. Right. And so when they made those mistakes,
it was like, how dare you?
How dare you do that? And God was like, what do you mean? Who are you? I remember being angry with someone, and I was angry, and I was like, the Lord's going to get them, the Lord. And I was literally riding down the road, and God, being who he is, I'm riding, trying to just meditate, trying to get some quiet time. And he came to me and he said, you're mad at them, but I'm not. I'm not doing nothing. He said, though, that's my person. you are angry because you made a series of decisions that got you where you at. He said, those your decisions. Don't have nothing to do with me. Don't put me on them. Don't say I'm going to do this. He said, because I'm not doing anything. He said, I know them just like I know you. I was like,
and that's how it is. So yeah.
he's like, no, stop. He said, because why would I? Then I would have to no, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I had to repent, but it brought me to a place of humbling.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because he was right. Like, I can't be out here doing stuff like that and then thinking, and then sometimes I would say stuff that was ugly because I was angry, and then have to go back at night and have like the wrath of God sit on my face, like shut your, like shut your mouth, stop saying stuff like that, because everybody is just capable, just like I'm capable of doing stuff that would disappoint or hurt.
And I think I get that a lot too, where it's like, just shut up, Tamika, shut up.
It hurts,
and I don't do well with shutting up. But it gets to where now I find myself not even being able to think.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm supposed to shut up. I'm not even supposed to say anything right now because I forgot what I was going to say.
That part.
And that helps me though,
yes.
because I've learned that what I say sometimes is not needed. Yeah. And sometimes it's not from a place of love, and it's not from a godly place either. Especially when I get upset, it's like, okay, yeah, you're letting it rip. And now when I get upset, I leave. I'll just leave wherever so that I can get by myself, so that the words I say don't damage the ears they fall on. Oh gosh, because you can't take them back. And then when you try to go back and try to correct it, I know for me, I make a big mud puddle. Yeah, it's where it's just like you just have to shut up. Some of the things that I've said out of anger, it's rightfully angry, but it's my anger. It has nothing to do with the people that's having to listen. And it's like, you don't want them to even, because sometimes people can honor you and respect you so much that what you say, that's what they gonna go by. And it's like, no. I was just upset. Yeah. But sometimes we get there and I have to learn. I learned a lot last year. I learned even more the year before that. Yeah. And it's just like, okay, shut up, Tamika. Even within the church, I had to grow even there, because I couldn't understand what I was saying, what was going on. And I've gotten to a place now where like I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do. But I don't look at individuals as, how can I say it? Like, I don't look at individuals as I think I just see them as who they are. You know what I mean? I put it out there. You if you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. Like, and it used to be like, I don't understand, Lord, why, but it's just to a point now. They do it to him. So it's not, that's not even about me. And I think now they're looking at me and they're saying, they don't understand. Like I had one, they were like, are you all right? Yeah. I'm fine, because it was some instructions given, they didn't do it. I'm a person, if you don't, I'll do it. And that's how you gotta be. I mean, that's how I do. I have to do that with actual employees. Yeah. That you've already paid them to do the task. And you see that I paid you, but you didn't do it. Yeah. And I gotta go back and do it. Yeah. And you just look at it and say, okay. Yeah, but and just using that and just in every area of life, I have learned. I really have just learned, like just being quiet, kind of pausing and listening more to God and really giving it back, just giving it back to Him. I'm not going to hold on to that moment. Learn it. It's a moment. This moment's going to pass and we're going to go on to the next moment. I'm not going to let this moment ruin our entire relationship, wherever. If it's just a co-worker relationship, right. It's a co-worker relationship. Hey, I'm not going to let it ruin this moment, ruin that relationship.
sibling relate. I'm not gonna let this one moment ruin the rest. I'm just not going to do it because tomorrow's not promised.
Yeah.
And I don't want to wake up knowing that I went to bed harboring anger with somebody that was unnecessary.
Right. Not even called for.
Yeah. So, but I enjoyed today. Hopefully we can do this again next month.
Yeah.
And
I got to get my schedule together.
Yeah.
But it's coming. It's coming along. I'll get it together.
Yeah. And I mean, because I think just having candid conversations are just about real life is really good, and it helps people. I want to really talk about our next time that we talk. I want us to talk about real talk about sex in the church. It's happening. What do we do with it? And what do you do with the people who's doing it? What do you do with it?
Don't get me started. Don't have me a part of that conversation.
What? I think it's really good to have. Because I have talked to a number of people who, I mean, it's real. Might as well talk about it. I remember being when I first started working with the youth, and I had gotten in trouble because I said, they were like, "You're supposed to be telling them not to have sex." I said, "Look, they're gonna do it. I tell them go get condoms."
They're gonna do it.
Go get condoms. If you're gonna do it right. Don't get yourself caught up with no diseases or babies. And my mama walked me down remember the old DSS building? And you would go past there. And some of the women had those big jars of condoms.
Off of Maple Street. Yeah, I used to work it out. Yeah,
my mama walked me down there, and I don't know why we was going down there. Anyway, she'd go in there and get them condoms, girl.
Yeah, I don't know. That topic is a topic, boy.
It is. So again, until next time, we will be back. I have a special guest coming on again on Monday too. Oh gosh, you have to tune in. We're going to be talking about psychology and relationship, how to trauma in relationships when someone enters a relationship and they haven't dealt with the trauma. We have a psychologist coming on. So I'm excited about that because our pre-show conversation was really good because people carry their trauma to relationships, not even realizing it.
Right. It carried the trauma all over.
Girl, bleeding.
Don't get me going.
Okay, y'all. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.